In Walled Lake, Michigan, there was a young boy who was bullied at school. Every day on his way home from school, he had to pass by a gnarled tree that was around 70 feet tall. The local bullies would be lying in wait for him every day. They would stop him and take his shoes. They threw the shoes up in the tree so that they were left hanging from a branch. The poor boy would have to climb up the tree to get them back. One day, the boy was found dead in the swamp behind the tree. His shoes were still hanging from the branch. The police figured that he had fallen from the tree while climbing up and landed in the swamp. The theory was he must have become stuck in the mud and unable to free himself, and finally suffocated. They ruled it an accident and didn't think any more of it. What the police did not know was there was a serial killer on the loose. He would later become known as the infamous Walled Lake child killer. A quarter of a mile from Walled Lake was an old amusement park. The serial killer kidnapped children from the amusement park and drove them out to the old shoe tree. There, he murdered them and buried their bodies in the swamp. He threw their shoes up into the tree and left them dangling there as he made his escape. They didn't know exactly how many children he had killed in his crimes went undetected for years. Finally, local people became suspicious of all the missing kids and all the dangling shoes hanging from the tree. The police were called and they came to investigate. They began digging in the mud around the shoe tree. There, they unearthed the dead bodies of all the missing children. There was a pair of shoes in the tree for every corpse they dug up. They say the Walled Lake child killer was never caught, and to this day he remains on the loose. The amusement park was later closed down. The land was developed within the past couple of years, but the shoe tree still stands on the same spot. Every now and then, they find another pair of children's shoes dangling from its branches. Just walking by the shoe tree would make your hair stand on end. People who go there during the daytime report hearing very distinct audible cries. The cries are not distant, but seem to be coming from just a few feet away. As you walk towards where the cries are coming from, they seem to move around, sometimes back to where you were just standing. They say that if you walk past the shoe tree at night, you will witness many strange things. You will see dark shadows around the tree, and if you stop and listen for a few minutes, you will hear the children's footsteps all around you and see their footprints in the mud. It wouldn't be unreasonable to think that the tormented souls of these children are left to wander and haunt the grounds around that tree. A college student claimed he encountered the ghost of these children on his way home from a party late one night. He had said it was a very foggy night and he had ran off the road and into a ditch. He had hit his head on the windshield, and when he came to, there were children coming out of the woods and towards his car. He said that the cries were really loud and piercing and seemed to surround him as he ran from the car and down the road in the opposite direction. When he'd reached town, he was out of breath and mumbling about the kids in the woods. They all thought he had been drinking because of the way he was acting. The next day, when the tow man was attaching the chains and the hook to the back of the car, he reported seeing children's handprints all over the vehicle. It's sad to think that the children are stuck, wandering the grounds where they were murdered. Maybe they're looking for their way home and crying out for their parents, or maybe they're looking for the killer. But either way, you wouldn't catch me out there at night.